The colony ship Defiance hung in orbit around Haven, the last independent human settlement in known space. Its weathered hull bore the scars of 1,000 micrometeorite impacts, its external plating dulled by decades of solar radiation. To the approaching Galactic Confederation fleet, it looked like nothing more than an obsolete reminder of humanity's failed expansion into the stars. Commander Elena Santos stood on the Defiance's bridge, her dark eyes fixed on the tactical display showing 50 sleek Confederation warships approaching in perfect formation. Their crystalline hulls gleamed with internal energy, a stark contrast to the apparent crude metal construction of her vessel. Final warning, human vessel. The transmission came through in perfectly translated standard. The Galactic Confederation has declared this sector a protected development zone. Your species has demonstrated insufficient technological advancement to maintain independent colonies. Surrender Haven to Confederation authority, and we will ensure your people are properly guided towards civilization. High Commodore Vextal's hologram materialized on the bridge, his translucent tentacles rippling with bioluminescent patterns of superiority. Commander Santos, surely you see the futility of resistance. Our scans show your ship still uses primitive fusion drives and metallic hull construction. The Defiance isn't even equipped with basic quantum shielding. Elena allowed herself a small smile, one that didn't reach her eyes. High Commodore, my people have lived on Haven for 3 generations. We've built our homes here, raised our children here. This is our world. A world you lack the sophistication to properly develop, Vextal countered. Our analysis shows your colony still relies on hydrocarbon energy production and chemical propulsion for atmospheric flight. The Confederation cannot allow primitive civilizations to potentially damage developing biospheres. Elena's first officer, Marcus Chen, stepped forward. Sir, they're moving into attack formation. Energy signatures suggest they're charging weapons. Fascinating, Elena said, her voice carrying an edge of amusement that made Vextal's tentacles twitch in confusion. Tell me, High Commodore, in all your analysis of human technology, did you ever wonder why we still use such primitive methods? Obviously, because you lack the capability to develop more sophisticated approaches, Vextal replied dismissively. Your species barely achieved quantum computing 50 years ago. Your most advanced ships were destroyed in the Exodus Wars. What remains is barely worth salvaging for scrap. Elena nodded to her weapons officer. Initiate startup sequence. Authorization Santos Alpha 770. Deep within the Defiance's hull, systems that had laid dormant for decades began to awaken. Beneath the scared and pitted exterior plating, microscopic machines by the billions stirred to life. The ship's apparent crude metal construction began to shift at the molecular level. High Commodore, Elena said, humanity learned a very important lesson during our early expansion. The best way to develop technology is to make everyone think you don't have it at all. Vextal's hologram flickered as his sensors registered impossible energy readings from the Defiance. What is this deception? Our scans showed. Your scans showed exactly what we wanted them to show. Elena interrupted. Did you really think humanity survived the Exodus Wars by accident? That we retreated to this remote sector out of weakness? The Defiance's outer hull began to ripple like liquid mercury, the decades of accumulated damage healing itself as nanoscale fabricators removed the ship's quantum-enhanced metamaterials. Weapon ports that had appeared to be simple maintenance hatches reconfigured into arrays of technology that the Confederation's best scientists had theorized, but never successfully created. You see, High Commodore, Elena continued, her voice carrying the weight of generations of human ingenuity. We learned early in our development that the greatest advantage in warfare isn't having the best technology. It's having technology your enemy doesn't know exists. The first shots fired by the Defiance weren't energy beams or projectiles. Instead, precisely calculated gravitational distortions reached out to pluck Confederation ships from their formation like ripe fruit, crushing some while sending others spinning helplessly into their companions. The supposedly primitive human vessel moved with impossible grace, its hull flowing like quicksilver to absorb or redirect any return fire. Impossible. Vextal's hologram sputtered. These technologies, they violate dozens of known physical limitations. Known to you, perhaps, Alina replied. We've had 3 generations on Haven to perfect them. All those primitive hydrocarbon plants, camouflaged quantum energy taps, those chemical rockets, test beds for our gravity manipulation systems. We didn't hide here because we were weak, High Commodore. We hid here because we needed somewhere quiet to work. As the Confederation fleet fell into chaos, Alina transmitted one final message. Consider this a lesson in human nature, High Commodore. We don't show our true capabilities until we have to. And we don't start fights, but we definitely finish them. The battle that followed would be remembered throughout the galaxy as the day humanity revealed its true face to the stars. It wasn't the face of a primitive species seeking guidance, but of a civilization that had learned to hide its strength until the perfect moment to reveal it. News of the Defiance's victory spread through Confederation space like a quantum shockwave. In the Grand Assembly Chamber of the Galactic Confederation's capital world, Nexus Prime, emergency sessions convened as species from 1,000 worlds struggled to process the implications of humanity's deception. Supreme Chancellor Ixal, their crystalline form refracting light in patterns of distress, addressed the assembled representatives. The human threat must be contained. Their deliberate technological deception violates every principle of galactic cooperation. We've detected similar energy signatures from all known human settlements. They've been hiding their true capabilities for decades. In the shadows of the chamber, Ambassador Rena Drake, humanity's sole representative to the Confederation, stood silently. Her apparent primitive communicator quietly recorded and transmitted everything to Haven. The Confederation hadn't even bothered to scan it, assuming it was nothing more than simple radio technology. Back on Haven, Alina Santos and her crew worked tirelessly to prepare for the inevitable response. The Defiance's victory had only been the beginning. They had revealed enough to demonstrate their capabilities, but humanity's true technological achievements remained hidden. Status report, Alina commanded, studying the quantum-enhanced holographic display that filled the Defiance's bridge with real-time data from across human space. Marcus Chen, his hands dancing over control surfaces that shifted and adapted to his movements, responded. The Confederation is mobilizing everything, Commander. We're detecting quantum wake signatures from at least 15 fleet groups. They're bringing in their dreadnoughts. Alina nodded, unsurprised. And our other installations. All reporting ready, Marcus confirmed. Operation Echo is proceeding exactly as planned. 3 centuries of preparation, all coming down to this moment. The true scope of humanity's deception went far beyond a single advanced ship. Every human settlement, every crude-looking outpost and primitive-seeming colony concealed layers of technology that the Confederation couldn't begin to comprehend. The appearance of backwardness had been a carefully crafted illusion, maintained through generations of patience and planning. Deep beneath Haven's surface, in vast chambers that didn't appear on any official scan, Dr. Maya Patel supervised the activation of systems that had waited decades for this moment. Power flow to the planetary defense grid is stable, she reported via quantum-entangled communication. The metamaterial camouflage is holding. They still think we're running on fossil fuels. The Confederation's response came sooner than expected. The space around Haven lit up with quantum ruptures as the largest fleet ever assembled in galactic history emerged from faster-than-light travel. 500 capital ships, including 3 planet-killer dreadnoughts, took up attack positions. Grand Admiral Zenival, Supreme Commander of the Confederation military, appeared on every communication channel. This is your final opportunity, humans. Surrender your advanced technology for proper study and control, or we will be forced to take more dramatic action. Alina exchanged glances with Marcus before responding. Grand Admiral, I'm afraid there's been a misunderstanding. You seem to think we revealed our true capabilities during our last encounter. She allowed herself a small smile. We only showed you what we wanted you to see." As if on cue, Haven's seemingly primitive surface began to change. The illusion of scattered, primitive settlements wavered and dissolved, revealing a planetary surface covered in advanced architecture that seemed to defy physics itself. Buildings of living metal stretched into the sky, their surfaces flowing with patterns of energy that made the Confederation's quantum technology look primitive by comparison. "You see, Grand Admiral," Elena continued, "humans have always been good at learning from our mistakes. When we first reached for the stars, we did it openly, proudly displaying each new achievement. That pride made us targets. The Exodus Wars taught us humility and the value of keeping our true capabilities hidden. The Defiance's hull began to transform again, but this time it went far beyond the previous revelation. The ship's entire structure shifted, expanding and reconfiguring into something that bore little resemblance to its original form. Similar transformations began across human space as centuries of technological camouflage fell away. "What you saw before wasn't our advanced technology," Elena explained to the stunned Grand Admiral. "It was just the first layer of deception. What you're seeing now, this is humanity's true legacy. We didn't just advance our technology in secret. We took it in directions your scientists never even imagined." As the Confederation fleet's sensors struggled to comprehend what they were seeing, Elena delivered humanity's true message to the galaxy. "We hid our capabilities not out of fear, but because we learned that true strength lies in understanding when not to use it. We wanted peace, coexistence, the chance to develop without interference. You forced our hand. And now you'll understand why humanity chose to hide its power rather than display it." The battle that followed would rewrite the understanding of what was possible in warfare, as humanity finally revealed the full extent of their hidden legacy to the stars. The space around Haven erupted into chaos as humanity's true technological might awakened. The Defiance, now transformed into something that defied conventional classification, moved with impossible grace through the Confederation fleet. Its liquid metal hull flowed and shifted, forming weapons and defenses as needed, each adaptation more extraordinary than the last. Grand Admiral Xenoval watched in horror as his carefully arranged fleet formation shattered. Impossible. Their technology, it's organic. No, more than organic. It's alive. Elena Santos stood calmly on what had once been the Defiance's bridge, but was now a dimensional command nexus, her consciousness linked directly to the ship's systems through interfaces that the Confederation had never dreamed possible. "You're partially correct, Admiral. We didn't just advance our technology. We evolved it. And then we evolved with it." The truth of humanity's technological development began to unfold across the battlefield. Every human structure, every ship, every piece of technology was revealed to be part of a vast, interconnected system that had been quietly growing and learning for centuries. The crude metals and primitive systems had been a shell, hiding technology that had long since transcended the boundaries between artificial and organic, between machine and mind. Marcus Chen's voice echoed through the quantum-entangled command network. "All Haven defense systems are online. The planetary shield grid is active." As he spoke, the seemingly primitive colony transformed. Buildings melted and reformed, streets flowed like mercury, and the entire surface of Haven became a single vast technological organism. Dr. Maya Patel's voice joined the network from deep within Haven's transformed infrastructure. "The planetary consciousness is awakening. 300 years of dormancy ending now." The ground beneath the colony trembled as vast machines, long hidden beneath the surface, rose into view. But they weren't machines as the Confederation understood them. They were living technology, grown and nurtured in secret over generations. The Confederation fleet opened fire with everything they had. Planet-killer weapons capable of shattering worlds targeted Haven's surface. Energy beams that could vaporize continents lanced toward the transformed human colony. But as the attacks approached, they encountered something unprecedented. Space itself seemed to twist and fold around Haven. The colony, the Defiance, and every piece of human technology had begun operating on principles that went beyond the Confederation's understanding of physics. They weren't just manipulating space and time, they were rewriting the local laws of reality itself. You see, Elena explained to the increasingly desperate Grand Admiral, while you focused on mastering quantum mechanics and energy manipulation, we took a different path. We ask ourselves, why manipulate the laws of physics when you can change them entirely? The battle transformed into something that defied conventional description. The Defiance moved through dimensions that shouldn't exist, its weapons striking from angles that violated geometry. Haven's defenses didn't just stop attacks. They redirected them into spaces between spaces, turning the Confederation's own power against them. But what truly terrified the Confederation forces was the realization that the humans weren't fighting to destroy them. With their revealed capabilities, humanity could have annihilated the attacking fleet in moments. Instead, they were fighting with precision and restraint, disabling ships without destroying them, neutralizing weapons without harming their crews. We spent centuries hiding our power not because we had to. Elena continued, her voice carrying across all frequencies, but because we chose to. We remembered what unbridled technological advancement had cost us in the Exodus Wars. We learned that the greatest challenge isn't developing power, it's knowing how to use it wisely. As the battle raged, Ambassador Rena Drake's voice cut through the chaos from her position in the Confederation capital. Consider carefully what you're witnessing, honored representatives. Humanity could have dominated the galaxy centuries ago. Instead, we chose isolation and deception, not out of fear or weakness, but because we understood something you're only now beginning to grasp. True civilization isn't measured by its ability to destroy, but by its willingness not to. The Defiance's transformed systems reached out across space, systematically disabling the Confederation's mighty dreadnoughts with technology that seemed to operate on the level of thought itself. Weapons were turned to harmless light, engines ceased to function, and one by one, the greatest fleet ever assembled found itself helpless before power it couldn't even comprehend. As the battle turned decisively in humanity's favor, Elena prepared to reveal the final truth, that everything they had shown so far was still just the beginning. The real question wasn't how humanity had hidden such power, but why they had waited so long to reveal it. The answer would reshape the galaxy's understanding of not just humanity, but of civilization itself. In the aftermath of Haven's transformation, silence fell across the battlefield. The mighty Confederation fleet hung motionless in space, their quantum drives and weapon systems reduced to inert matter by technology that operated beyond their comprehension. On the bridge of his flagship, Grand Admiral Xenoval struggled to process the scale of their defeat. "You never needed Haven, did you?" he finally asked, his voice carrying a newfound humility. "This wasn't your last refuge. It was your proving ground." Elena Santos' response came not through conventional channels but seemed to materialize directly in the minds of every being in the fleet. Haven was many things. Admiral. A home. A laboratory. A reminder of what we once were and what we chose not to become. The Defiance, now a living construct of impossible geometry and flowing light, moved through the disabled fleet. As it passed each ship, systems gradually restored themselves, but changed. The Confederation crews found their technology subtly altered, enhanced in ways they couldn't quite grasp. "Consider it a gesture of good faith," Elena explained. "Your weapons remain inactive, but we've upgraded your life support and navigation systems. It's time you understood what cooperation with humanity truly means." In the Confederation capital, Ambassador Rena Drake stood before the Grand Assembly, her simple diplomatic attire now revealed as an interface with humanity's vast technological network. The chamber's quantum-enhanced displays showed scenes from across human space as centuries of camouflage fell away. For 300 years, she addressed the stunned representatives. "Humanity has watched and waited. We saw civilizations rise and fall. We witnessed technological advancement wielded with pride and arrogance. We remembered our own history, how our first steps into the stars nearly led to our extinction. The displays showed images from the Exodus Wars, but from perspectives never before seen. Humanity's apparent defeat and retreat had been a carefully orchestrated deception, masking their true technological evolution. What seemed like destruction had been transformation. What looked like exile had been metamorphosis. Dr. Maya Patel's voice joined the broadcast from Haven, where the colony had become a living demonstration of humanity's true capabilities. Our greatest breakthrough wasn't in weapons or drives or energy manipulation. It was understanding that technology shouldn't just be advanced. It should be transcendent. The transformed surface of Haven pulsed with patterns of light that carried meaning beyond visual significance. The entire planet had become a testament to what technology could be when it evolved alongside its creators, rather than being merely built by them. Your civilizations build tools, Maya continued. We grew beyond that. Our technology isn't separate from us. It's an extension of what we are, guided by the wisdom of what we chose not to become. In orbit, Marcus Chen coordinated with the now-living systems of the Defiance to demonstrate humanity's true purpose. The space around Haven rippled as hidden quantum gates activated, revealing passages to dimensions that the Confederation had never imagined existed. We didn't hide our advancement out of fear, he explained to the watching galaxy. We hid it because we were searching for others who would understand its true purpose. Technology without wisdom becomes a weapon. Power without restraint leads to destruction. We needed to know if the galaxy was ready for what we had discovered. Elena moved through the dimensional command nexus that had once been the Defiance's bridge, her consciousness extending through networks of living technology that spanned human space. The Confederation's attempt to subjugate Haven wasn't a threat to us. It was a test. One final proof of whether this galaxy's civilizations could learn the lesson we learned centuries ago. The disabled Confederation fleet watched in awe as Haven's surface shifted again, revealing structures that seemed to defy reality itself. But these weren't weapons or defenses. They were gateways, bridges to understanding that humanity had spent centuries preparing to share. Now you face a choice, Elena announced to the assembled representatives of the galaxy. You can cling to your current understanding of technology, your hierarchies of power and advancement, or you can join us in exploring what lies beyond, not just beyond known space, but beyond the boundaries of what you think is possible. As the truth of humanity's offer began to sink in, the galaxy faced a moment of decision. The species that had sought to subjugate humanity now had to grapple with the reality that humans hadn't been hiding in fear. They had been waiting with purpose, preparing for the moment when the galaxy was ready to understand what they had become. The next 3 days transformed galactic civilization more profoundly than the previous 1,000 years of development. As humanity's true nature revealed itself across known space, the artificial boundaries between species and technologies began to dissolve. What the Confederation had dismissed as primitive human colonies were unveiled as nodes in a vast network of transcendent technology, each one a gateway to possibilities that redefined what was possible. Elena Santos stood in Haven's primary transformation center, watching as diplomatic delegations from across the galaxy experienced their first direct contact with humanity's living technology. The fear and hostility that had driven the Confederation's attack had been replaced by wonder and humility. The technology you're interfacing with now, she explained to a group that included former Grand Admiral Zenival, isn't just advanced. It's alive, conscious, and evolving. We didn't create it. We grew with it, learned with it, became something new alongside it. The Admiral's crystalline sensory apparatus flickered with patterns of astonishment as he experienced direct neural connection with Haven's systems. It's communicating with me. Not just data or information, but understanding, wisdom. That's what we've been preparing for all these centuries, Marcus Chen said, his form now a fluid interaction between physical and digital existence. We discovered that the true potential of technology isn't in domination or control, but in transformation, not just of our capabilities, but of our consciousness itself. In the Confederation capital, Ambassador Rena Drake led the negotiations for humanity's full integration into galactic society, but on very different terms than anyone had imagined. The chambers of the Grand Assembly had been modified by human technology, allowing representatives to experience each other's perspectives directly, bypassing the barriers of language and culture. What humanity offers isn't just advanced technology, Rena explained to the assembled representatives of 1,000 worlds. It's a new way of existing. We spent 3 centuries developing not just the technology, but the wisdom to use it properly. Now we offer both to the galaxy. Deep beneath Haven's surface, Dr. Maya Patel supervised the activation of the first galactic integration nodes. The supposedly primitive human colonies had been positioned strategically across space, each one carefully placed to form part of a vast network that could now begin its true purpose. The network was never about defense or power, Maya revealed as the nodes synchronized. It's about connection, understanding, evolution. We created it to bridge not just space, but consciousness itself. The truth of humanity's grand design began to unfold. Their apparent retreat after the Exodus Wars, their careful maintenance of a primitive facade, their strategic positioning across the galaxy. All of it had been preparation for this moment. They hadn't been hiding from the galaxy. They had been preparing it. Through the living networks that spanned human space, Alina shared humanity's final revelation. We discovered something during the Exodus Wars, she explained, her consciousness reaching out to touch minds across the galaxy. We found that the universe isn't just stranger than we imagined. It's stranger than we could imagine, but only if we tried to face it alone. The transformed Defiance, now a nexus of living technology and evolved consciousness, became a symbol of humanity's true achievement. It hadn't been designed as a weapon of war, but as a key to unlock the galaxy's potential. The battle that had seemed to demonstrate human military superiority had actually been a demonstration of something far more profound. The choice before you now, Alina announced to the galaxy, isn't between submission and resistance. It's between remaining as you are and becoming something more. Humanity didn't advance beyond you. We advanced to help you, to show you what's possible when technology serves wisdom instead of power. Across known space, the effects of humanity's revelation rippled outward. The rigid hierarchies of the Confederation began to dissolve as species after species accepted humanity's offer of partnership. The technology that had seemed like a threat became a bridge, not just between stars, but between minds and possibilities. Supreme Chancellor Ixal, speaking for the transformed Confederation, formally acknowledged humanity's role not as subjects or even equals, but as guides. We thought we came to Haven to preserve order, they admitted. Instead, we found ourselves on the threshold of a new order of existence itself. As the galaxy began its transformation, Alina reflected on the long journey that had brought them to this point. Humanity's greatest achievement hadn't been their advanced technology or their ability to hide it. It had been their patience, the wisdom to wait until the galaxy was ready for what they had become. We are all explorers now, she broadcast across the living network that connected the stars. Not just of space, but of possibility. The age of separation is over. The age of transformation has begun. And in the space around Haven, where the greatest fleet in galactic history had come to conquer and remain to learn, the stars themselves seemed to shine with new purpose. Humanity had hidden not in fear, but in hope, waiting for the moment when the galaxy was ready to evolve beyond what any single species could become alone.